Greetings YouTube, welcome back to the Meta channel. I am Marcus, bringing you another video for Cardfight Vanguard D series. In this video, we'll be going through one of the last encounter Rideline that we have for DBD08, which is Minerva herself, the poster girl for DBD08. Now, I think this is probably going to be the most hype for all the sims within Cardfight Vanguard community because, you know, she is a very, very beautiful unit. And of course, she got so popular that they actually have a figurine of Minerva. That's how popular she is. And also, if you guys do not know who this is basically one of the main units for Genesis in the old era. She is one of the boss unit that is so scary that even now she is still remains one of the most prevalent premium deck that there is out there. I may be wrong because, you know, I don't really play premium, but we're getting sidetracked. Let's take a look at what the new Minerva is doing for D series. First off, the Great One Rideline, Witch of Frogs Melissa. Although when this card is rolled upon by a unit with only Genesis for its clan, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 cards from among them, put it into your soul and shuffle your deck. Second skill auto, when this card is put into your drop zone from your soul, if you have a Vanguard with Minerva in its card name, call this card to your back row Regalia circle. If you called, you may soul charge 1. Basically, any card that basically helps you selectively soul charge from the top of your deck is always going to be a win. And this is coming from a Dark States player. Not only does it let you, you know, filter your deck and let you have an increased chance of dry checking a trigger, it's actually a very, very important piece for you to put either herself as well as Chamomile, which is the grade 2 that we're going to talk about later, into the soul. Because these two cards does something when you are soul blasting them out from the soul, which is why they need to be in the soul as soon as possible. Not only that, this card does call herself whenever she is soul blasted out for a Vanguard from any skills that soul blast, which is very, very nice. And on top of that, it's actually free. Although you are restricted to only call at the back row, I guess it's okay. You get a free rearguard as well as a booster. You do actually get to choose whether or not you want that soul charge. So as you don't really lose that soul all too much, it's entirely up to you. It's not necessarily a must for you to soul charge unless you are sure that the card that you soul charge on top of your deck is going to be one of your key components. So basically what this deck wants you to do is basically generate more value in the process of you paying the cost, because that is basically what Genesis does. You soul blast a whole lot of cards and gain a lot of value out of you soul blasting certain cards within, you know, Genesis. It's a very, very nice card and a very, very good grade 1 right target. The grade 2 Witch of Ravens Chamomile. Although when this unit is rolled upon by a unit with only Genesis for its clan, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 cards from among them, put it into your soul and shuffle your deck. Second skill auto, when this card is put into your drop from your soul during your turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Minerva in its card name, cast Counterblast 1 and call this unit to Regalia circle. This grade 2 basically has the same selective soul charge skill as Melissa, because, you know, Minerva is a deck that basically revolves around you soul blasting cards, so naturally you will want to soul charge a lot of cards. So this is the card that basically allows Minerva to have a multi-attack, because since Minerva for sure will have a skill that basically requires you to soul blast in order to activate skills, this card will be one of the costs for you to soul blast. And of course, if you soul blast her out from the soul, you basically could recall her on top of any resting front row rear guards, which then allows you to have multi-attack. So you need to be very, very careful on the timing of you soul blasting her out, because the only way for you to recycle Chamomile once you use her skill is through Drilling Angel. And yes, Drilling Angel's price is getting out of hand because this card is very, very good in a lot of decks, even until now. Youthberg can use this card, Dagria can use this card. I mean, for sure Dagria wants to use this card. And now we have this Rideline, that which requires you to have certain units in the soul for you to soul blast out to activate skill. Drilling Angel is for sure going to be a must to be played in this deck due to how much value this card brings for Minerva. So if you don't get Drilling Angel by now, you're basically in a big trouble, at least for your wallet. Next is the boss lady herself, Omniscience Regalia Minerva. First skill, continuous Vanguard circle. During your turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Regalia and its card name in your soul, all of your units in your front row gets 5k power. Second skill, active Vanguard circle once per turn. Cost soul blast 1, look at the top of your deck and put that card on the top or to the soul. Third skill, auto Vanguard circle once per turn. At the end of the battle, this unit attack. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, costs Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 3, discard a card with only Genesis for its clan from your hand, stand this unit, and it gets drive -1 until the end of turn. So, an 18k base restander, provided you have another grade 3 or greater Regalia in its card name. That basically means that you either need to have Minerva or there's another grade 3 card Regalia, which is Angelica, which you guys already know, in the soul for you to give the whole of your front row the 5k. The 5k may seem small, but then again, you are a restanding Vanguard. So that 5k could mean a lot in terms of, you know, your opponent guarding, because you can just keep giving power to Minerva, and Minerva is just gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. The front row 5k buff will still apply to newly called units because it's a continuous and it's a Vanguard skill. As long as Minerva is on the Vanguard, anything that is called to the front row will get the 5k. This also applies to the Persona Ride. I am unsure why Minerva actually has the skill to basically check the top deck. I mean, yes, in the old days, I think Genesis does have this kind of skill to basically check the top deck, but hey, it's a Soul Blast one to check a top deck, so technically it's free, because if you check the top deck and it's not a trigger, you might as well just put it to soul. Very, very nice. And of course, if it's a trigger, you can just put it to the top deck and you can plan accordingly, which is very, very scary. It's technically free as well, since you Soul Blast one out to get one soul. Yeah, free. As mentioned before, the Soul Blast tree to restand is very, very important, in particularly for Chamomile, because Chamomile does superior call herself back from the drop zone if she is Soul Blast out from the soul to the drop. Since Minerva does Soul Blast 3, meaning that you can Soul Blast 2 Chamomile and 1 Melissa to get 3 rearguards back at the cost of 2 Counterblast. If you take into account Minerva's Counterblast, that's 3 Counterblast in total. But hey, it's not going to be a problem once we get into the later support cards. With that combo in mind, Minerva could actually make 6 attack in total if you Soul Blast 2 Chamomile out from the soul. And those powers actually range from 15k to 25k, depending on if you do Personal Ride or not. I'm talking about the rearguards. The Vanguard, of course, if you do Personal Ride, it's gonna be 23k, 28 including the first skill. And of course, there are still some other cards that basically gives Minerva power. A very threatening skill, if you ask me, because Minerva is known to have like a humongous amount of power once she gets more support. Right now, it's only the first wave. She can't really do much, but she can do enough. But with that out of the way, let's take a look at what other support cards that Minerva actually has to actually make her a top tier meta deck. First off, of course, is Regalia of Wisdom Angelica. Auto Regalia Circle. At the end of the battle, this unit attack, if you have a Vanguard with Minerva in its card name, cost Soul Blast 1, choose one of your Vanguard, it gets 5k power until the end of turn. Also, cost put this unit into your soul to countercharge 1. So as mentioned before, Angelica actually give Minerva the extra 5k, so the more power you give to a restander, the better and more threatening that restander will be. It's actually a very, very nice skill to have and give to Minerva. Not only does it give 5k power, it also helps unlock Minerva 5k to the front row, which makes Minerva a 23k at the minimum before she even attack, which is super disgusting. The Soul Blast is actually very, very nice for a breaking situation, provided you have Melissa as well as Chamomile in the soul, because as we all know, those 2 cards are the main cards that you want to Soul Blast from your soul, because they can call themselves back to the field, which is always nice, and therefore helps with your breaking situation, which is very, very nice. Not only do you build feel out of this skill, you do gain a lot of value out of them, which is very, very nice in my opinion. The counter charge here is there to help Chamomile, because Chamomile does consume 1 counter blast. So for every Chamomile you Soul Blast out, it's gonna cost you 1 counter blast. With Angelica, give that form of refunding is actually very, very nice for you to keep on using your full potential every single turn. And not only that, the Soul Blast one is basically, you know, free, because she goes to soul in order to countercharge 1. A lot of stuff is basically free in a sense for Minerva, but hey, it's actually a very, very good card. Next up, we have Apple with Cider. Auto Regalia Circle. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If you have a Vanguard with Minerva in its card name, return this unit to your hand. Second skill, auto, when this unit puts on Guardian Circle, if you have a grade 3 or greater Regalia in its card name in your soul, during that battle, this unit gets 5k shield. So basically, this card, I think it's more or less function as a Minerva personal booster, meaning that this card will always want to be at the back of Minerva before she attacks, because you can activate activate Cider skill before you activate Minerva restand skill, because Minerva does have a cost for you to discard only Genesis card in order for Minerva to restand. So since Cider is a Genesis card and she does return back to the hand, she basically fuels Minerva's standing cost, which is very, very nice. And not only that, she's not entirely just Minerva's personal booster. She's also a 10k shield as long as you have Minerva or Angelica in the soul. Even in the early game, when you have a personal right, if you do soul charge either Minerva and Angelica into the soul, this card is basically a 10k shield from there on, which is very, very nice. Very, very disgusting too. And not only that, you could do a very nifty combo together with Drilling Angel. If you call Drilling Angel and you have Cider in the drop zone, you can basically put Cider back to soul and then check the top 3. If you do have Cider, you can just grab that Cider and put behind the Vanguard. By the time you get to Minerva, it's basically a +1 to your hand. It's a very nifty combo, and I trust that after some playtesting, you should be able to get the hang of it, if you are interested in building Minerva, that is. The next card we have is a normal order, Wisdom of the Beginning to Open the World. You basically need to only pay 1 counterblast for you to draw 2 cards, choose 2 cards from your hand, call each card if its grade is equal to or less than your Vanguard, and discard if it isn't. This, I think, is probably going to be the best order that, you know, Keter Sanctuary has. You draw 2 cards, you're able to choose 2 cards from your hand to call them out. It's very disgusting. Based on my experience as a Bruce player, Helheim Fervent Rage does have almost the same skill as this card, which that card, in my opinion, is a very, very good card for you to help with your breaking situation. Not only does this card not need any discard, you only pay 1 counterblast to draw 2 and then call 2 rear guards, which you will do so anyway. This order card is very, very good. And what's more, this card can be used as soon as turn 2, and you know, this card can basically encourage you to play more aggressively, which is kind of stupid if you think about it, because if you splash this in Youthberg, yeah, Youthberg is gonna be so broken. Very, very nice card. I suggest you play this with Minerva, and of course any other decks that can take advantage of this card, yeah, go ahead. And that is all for this video. Do let me know down in the comment section on what do you think from Minerva. It's a welcoming Rideline, and I personally, I am a little bit worried of the support that is coming for Minerva, because based on my past experience with Minerva, this goddess is very, very hard to guard. Hopefully we don't see that, but at the same time, if they don't give Minerva this kind of power level, it's, you know, pretty hard to justify her being meta. But who knows? That is for future me to reveal. Do like and subscribe if you like this video, and of course during the bell notification icon so that you don't miss a video I upload. With that being said, I'll see you all on the field.